We can't really prepare for every single scenario in draft since we have so many unique picks.
I truly believe that EU is better than NA. When we look 30, I don't know why, but I feel it's never for me.
Hello everyone. To the surprise of many, you'll notice that I am not Daniel Drakos. Instead, I am Vedius. He's out this week, so I'll be covering the episode. And if you want to find the episode, we will be on
Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And this week we're joined by Supa and Fresskowy to go through all things Mad Lions, their insane drafts, how they beat G2 with them, and also their upcoming match against Fnatic.
So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So welcome everyone. Today on episode 19 of EUphoria, we are joined by none other than the victorious Mad Lions, Supa and Fresskowy. Gentlemen, thank you for coming so early in the morning to this podcast. How are you both doing?
I'm doing good. Just woke up some time ago, but yeah, I feel good. I feel rested. We had some days off, so yeah, it feels good.
Nice. Super.
I'm really happy now. After finally we get an important win into G2 that we were having traveled into them 8 months almost.
Yes.
We didn't win never, so I'm happy.
So I kind of just want to get straight into it and basically ask what happened. Because, you know, when we think about Mad Lions' year, it started off strong, and then my opinion was you got worse, right? Like, you were okay in spring, like not obviously your ideal, but compared to winter, it wasn't great. And then in summer, you barely made it in. And then you just beat G2. So, like, can you guys give me a kind of a bit of a summary around, like, what happened in summer and then kind of how you came to this point?
I think if I need to tell the history of Mad Lions is we start from nothing. No one has expectation or anything. So mentally, we don't have, like, a block. When we lose into G2, we kind of create like a wall in front of us. Then we start improving individually and as a team a lot. I think we improve way more than I expected in winter to now. So we just create a wall mentally that was going bigger and we didn't know how to destroy. And doesn't matter if we improve gameplay, we could improve it or so. So it's like after losing the last split, we were really focused on do this better mentally, focus mentally, doesn't matter the gameplay, we already improved that. So we were just focused on this and it works into G2.
So what was that kind of process like? Because you guys came in with all the confidence in the world in winter. And well, like you deserved it. You guys were looking amazing. So what was that? Was it like a big knock to the confidence then as spring and summer started to roll around and you had to try and find that again? Or was it more of a we always believed in ourselves, it was just about fixing these little things and getting back to that state?
I would say what Supa said. I think the first split, it was expectations mostly. Like, no one expected anything from us, so we performed pretty good because we were like, okay, whatever happens, happens, so we're just playing confident. And then the next split is way more important because obviously every split scales in a way that is more important because it's closer to Worlds, so we started to take care more of it, and people start to get more nervous and pressured, obviously, including me, because I really want to go to Worlds. It has always been my dream, so whenever I think of it, and if I think that I'm gonna miss it, like, it makes me really anxious. So in many moments of the split, whenever I play official game or whatever, I get anxious. So it's kinda, you need to work on that consistently. Like, for example, this summer finals, we started way better because also of the bootcamp that we reset like a lot mentally. And I think we did better with it now. So it has been a long process, but I think we're slowly getting there, that we are handling it better. So I'm really happy. Yeah.
So tell us about this boot camp, because we heard about it. We were making jokes that Madrid is like the soul of Europe. You know, so what did the boot camp involve? Because it clearly worked.
I think was too many factors. First, fourth guys already from last year in Movistar Rider, we were there, we have like good vibes. We won everything in Spain. Then the people we work is like friends from more than a year. We enjoy so much. We were so happy. You know, when you're in an environment that is so happy, you see your friends every time you see someone new, you're happy. I think the vibes of Spain, I think everyone loves. I think Fresskowy love as well. He's like 3 years already in Spain. And I think travel always is good or at least how I see it, is you enjoy doing new things that you are not usually doing. So I think everything together make us be really happy. And I think it's a really important factor. If you are happy, you do everything better.
Yeah, I hear you guys talking a lot about the mental, right? And like that's clearly been a super important factor. So when it came to summer, your regular season, you ended like 1-8, right? And then you had to win 2 tiebreakers. And one of the things that, I mean, Dagda and I saw a lot of was like the most memorable example of this was your KC game, where you guys were literally at the Nexus and then you got upset jinxed. So like, what kind of degree of that was gameplay? How much of it was mental? Do you think the mental, I mean, clearly you identified that the mental was affecting the gameplay, but like one of the things we described was that Mad Lions kind of lacked an identity in summer. How much do you guys resonate with that kind of thought?
I mean, I would say in the KC game, it was 90% mental, I would say. Maybe the thing that we were missing in terms of League of Legends was how to close the game, but I don't think we don't know how to close the game. I think we're mostly affected because we wanted to win so badly that we couldn't stay calm in the moment and just like be, okay, guys, we just need to do this, we finish this game clean, that's it. We wanted to win so badly that we focus on destroying the Nexus no matter what instead of how to do it. So most of the summer, I would say, was like that. We focused too much on winning or actually like instead of be thinking like we need to do this, we need to focus on the process, we need to focus on improving, we need to do that. So I would say that's why we say so much is about mental, because we truly believe in terms of knowledge and League of Legends, I think we are the best team. So if we just develop our mental still and we don't underperform under pressure or choke in important moments, I think we're going to be the best team.
Do you have do you have a voice then on the team that's like, you win a hype team fight, you're like, lads, stop, take it slow, what are we doing? Like, is there now that voice on the team, or is it more of like a team aspect of, all right, we've done it, take it calm, resonate? I
mean, usually it's Leo, I would say, because he's the main shot caller. So whenever something is going shaky or bad in a game, he's like, usually, guys, okay, take a deep breath, chill a bit, you need to do this and this. So usually he's that kind of guy.
Yeah. That's fair. So, you know, in the context of what happened, I'd like to look a little more at the G2 series itself. Obviously, it was a 5-game banger. Game 3, what happened?
I mean, I think in our head we already destroyed the Nexus.
Right.
I think everyone, after we die, we were thinking, okay, if we just don't troll, we could end, because we did bad things when we were trying to destroy Nexus. It was only one auto attack. But I feel like after this, we were kind of like not thinking. We destroyed the Nexus, the game is over. But I think we were very tired as well. I see the team very tired when we went like 50-minute game. But after finish the game, I feel like everyone was like happy that we enjoyed the game. Cool. I feel like G2 look like they were like so tired to win in that game. And I think even if we lose, that was a game changer moment, because I see like 2 different teams and one won and they were like not that motivated. And we were like, guys, we have the game won. Let's go next. Let's finish this. We want to Rex and go next, no? So I think it was a crazy game. I think the series in general we enjoyed so much because it was like perma fighting, a skill check everywhere. So I think was the most funny series I played. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, because I remember in the cast I talked a lot about how impatient I felt like some of the players were, especially in game 3. And then the moment you got into game 4, it felt like you guys were laser focused. You know, like that was probably what I mean. I think it was one of your cleanest games of the whole year, arguably, game 4 and then in game 5 as well. So when we, like, obviously the mental adaptations were super important for your team specifically coming in. But Fresskowy, when I watch Caps versus most of the players in our league, it's usually a one-sided affair. I think you got the better of him in lane in almost every single game, if not every single game. I think there was one where maybe he had a slight advantage. But what was your experience playing against him? Because he was probably the biggest surprise to me as an individual this series.
And for sure, I play way more confident this series. I could see the difference because I think, as you said, I think most of the laning phase I had advantage, or I didn't think like he was way better than me. I would say then in fights, I got more caught, or I didn't play fights as good as I could. But I see a big difference again because I think I prepare myself way better this series mentally. I think I never went out mentally of this series also because usually what happens to me sometimes is like I'm a person that goes really hard on myself. So if I do a mistake that is not acceptable for me, I can easily get to my head. But this time I was like, okay, I promised myself I'm not going to give up mentally no matter what, whatever affects me or not. So I went to the series super confident that I truly believe that I'm better. So I think it was a key factor because I was truly believing it all the series and I didn't give up. So yeah, in the end, I play way better.
And you had a bunch of like really sick picks that you were ready to bring out, like the Vex, the Galleon, these kind of things. Were these things that you had already kind of prepped coming into the series? Because it felt to me like these were almost answers for like a lot of the Kennen picks that were coming through from G2. Like these were the responses that you wanted to bring out. Because I thought your moments on the Vex specifically, where you were like, BB wanted to blast Cone in over a Bard, you catch him with the W, he gets nothing, the ult goes to waste. These were really sick moments. Were these like things that you had come into the series already knowing you were going to bring out?
Not really, no. We just agreed as a team that we are not going to be scared to pull out like new picks in a way. For example, Vex is like a pick that I didn't practice in a while, but I used to play it a lot. Same for Miri, like we had a lot of picks that we just played in the past or we played a bit of games, but we just believe each other that we are able to pull it out, that we are talented enough, that we don't need to spam 30 solo queues before a game to pull it out. So, for example, even the Galio pick, I used to play a lot of Galio, so I just trusted myself and the team whenever we picked the first time kind of champs, and it worked out pretty well, yeah.
I mean, Dagda smoothly transitioned me into a bunch of next questions around the meta, right? And we have some Twitter questions later, but one great question was a lot of people are talking about Mirwin and his champion pool, but you did play 5 unique champions in the final as well.
Yeah.
And one of those questions was like, how do you guys even prepare your drafts? Because like, you know, most teams sit there and go, okay, well, we have these list of priorities. You know, we want to make sure we have a strong bot lane, or we want to make sure we get a certain pick for our mid laner. But what's the conversation for you guys? Is it, okay, we're going to show up and we'll see who's decided what they're going to play today? Like, what's the strategy here?
I mean, that's a good question. I think it's depend on the player. I think from outside you can know. I'm the typical guy that needs to have his thing prepared. I need to have my picks, everything. I'm really confident on my picks. Then the rest, I need to believe on them. No?
So is there one pick that keeps coming up where you're just like, are you guys like, lads, Vayne jungle, I swear it's there, and you're just like, not again, we just drop this, please.
I mean, I don't know, but we played that Lulu top that I didn't see in my screens. So
yeah, actually, can we just get into that? Because like at first I thought, oh, okay, he's going to do like a support type Lulu because you've got double AD carry. So the idea is like, it's kind of like the old Juggermore comp, so you protect the AD carry. He went full AP. And so I'm like, is he playing for him? Like he played the lane well, don't get me wrong. But like, do either of you know what was going on there?
I thought I didn't even realize in game that he was full AP, to be honest. Like, I didn't even know. Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's the identity of the team, no? You need to accept it.
Well, this is the big thing for us because, you know, when we commented on like this lack of identity in summer, like Muin's pool was that of a traditional top laner. And like when we saw him succeed, we saw like he was bringing out the Varus top, the Nico top, all the crazy stuff. And we did get to see some more of that again from you as a team towards the very end when it felt like the pressure was on. But then you struggled in playoffs, right? So I'm curious as to like, when it came with this mental shift, was it just kind of like, okay, guys, we need to just stick to comfort? Was it that you just feel that the meta fits your playstyle very well? Did you guys adjust to the meta, or is this something where the meta just fits you?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, we just had... we tried some picks in scrims, but it's not like we were looking for cheese picks all the time. It's just whenever we see an angle that we think is good, we just pull it out. But I'm not really sure whenever it's good or not, because it's mostly up to Miri. For example, he wanted to blind pick Nidalee top last game. I'm not sure if it's a good blind pick, If he wants to do it, sure, I trust him. Like, I believe he's gonna do well on the champion, and that's it. Like, we didn't really have 50 hours talks on whether the Nidalee pick is good or not, or the other crazy stuff that we pull out. So we just trust him and our staff that is gonna be good. And we have a mindset that as long as we play confident and how we know we're gonna win no matter what. So the draft idea is not as important for us. Like, you can have losing draft, and as long as we are better players and you believe that you will win, you're gonna win. So
what's the first 3 minutes after Lulu top gets locked in? Is there all right, lads, here's my quick PowerPoint presentation and how this pick is going to work and what you need to do to support it? Or is it just kind of like Mirwan will fill you in as we go throughout the game?
Mostly the second option, yeah.
Okay.
Like, Miri will just go with the flow, and he's just gonna tell us more or less what he's gonna do in game, and that's it, yeah.
But he is the man that made a PowerPoint for his Fiddlesticks top, isn't he? Has he given you guys that PowerPoint?
No.
So you guys still don't know how that top
I
works.
love how basically in my head now I have Mirwan as, the guy you get in solo queue who just links you this Word doc that's this is what you need to do. Don't FF at 15.
But he didn't give it to them. I mean, that's the thing that's getting me. Damn, okay. What I will say is that my opinion on strong teams throughout history, we talked about it in the cast. When G2 was at their peak, it was when they were leveraging flex picks. And you guys, you're super high priority on Ezreal and Corki, and then you're the first team in the LEC to show we can flex the Corki not in one lane, but across three, right? Because, I don't know if you guys can talk about this. So if you can't, that's totally fine. But when you're in that draft and Corki is locked in, is it situation A, where you're sitting there and already know that you can bring the Corki top? Or is it you've locked in Corki, you're thinking you're going to play it mid, maybe you put it bot, and then out of nowhere Mirwan goes, guys, I can play this top, by the way.
Maybe for example, we can talk about 30. That is the most played champion in a lot of roles.
Mm-hmm.
When we look 30, I don't know why, but I feel it's never for me.
But it could be.
It could be. I'm being hey guys, I want 30, is the Ash Misfortune is out. There is no counter. Guys, pick it for me. No, but it always say Mirwan, hey, pick it for me. It's super free matchup. then he can be even in lane. Hey, Mirwan, you told me it's free matchup. Nah, I just wanted to play.
Oh man, that's I honestly really love that energy, because I think it's so valuable for teams to just be able to kind of play whatever. And I love that you guys have kind of passed through this wall that you consider G2 to be. And it's something that I've heard kind of critics of the league say, which is that when good teams go up against G2, it's almost like that they just forget how to play. And obviously Fnatic was the biggest example of that based on the final. But that must feel great. And it's crazy that Mad Lions is the organization that typically does it. Prior to you guys joining back in 2020, the COVID era, they did beat G2 in the upper bracket as well. So I'm excited to see where you guys can go. Talk to me a little bit about this misfortune. You did mention it. We're seeing all the teams in Europe now first ban it. Mm-hmm. Why is she suddenly the S tier pick in the meta right now?
I think the BT change is really important on this champion, because BT was always in the past year really good item on Misfortune, because make you really abuse your mobility, you don't lose your W, you are very oppressive in lane. Plus, I think depend on the leagues, no? But it's a champion that is really strong in laning phase. People love to win laning phase no matter what, without counterplay. That's why Ash Misfortune is really OP. So based on, I think, in general, in you, they really like to win lane no matter what, more than focus on teamfights. It's a pick that win really prior, because it's a stupid oppressive in 1v1. We are in a meta that support wants to leave, play for Kevin, void grabs, objective, play around mid. So champions that are really strong 1v1 gain a lot of power. So that's why we see in Europe, I don't know in NA, but I know in LPL, they love this pick. And I think it's a really, really strong one.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Okay, great for the context. So the last question around the meta, can we expect more? Based on this conversation, my instinct is that neither of you know.
And to be honest, as you said, I have no idea what are we gonna put out still. We don't know. Maybe we go today to a scrim. I'm gonna see like new 5 top lane picks that Miri wants to put it out. I don't know. Maybe we're not gonna practice it. Maybe in official we're gonna be like, maybe this pick is good. So I still don't know. But yeah, whatever happens. I trust him.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, because I feel so. Basically, you guys have this list of champs that are just S tier in the meta, like the Ashe, the MF, like Zyra, Brand, Sejuani, Maokai. All this stuff still exists, right? I'm sure that's there. But then I guess the big strength you've now shown the world is we can be flexible. We're happy to pick things on the fly. We might not have a lot of experience on it, but either we'll figure it out in game or we'll have the knowledge prior to how this exactly works. So you're just unpredictable in a big sense, which I think is a big strength. It's a big potential weakness too, because there's always the degree of overconfidence, right? Yeah. But that's cool because I think it was I'm a cutie pie that famously said, "How can you know what I'm doing if I don't know what I'm doing?"
What do scrims then like look like for you lads? Because if you're trying all these different picks and stuff, how do you try and separate the hey, this was the Lulu top problem versus oh no, this is actually something that is more of an innate problem in the team that we need to try and fix on? Or how do you try and take a certain thing that you're trying to work on if you're going to be messing around with all these picks?
I mean, it depends, but usually we have some games that we obviously play the meta picks and the picks that we want to practice no matter what. But then when we see after a few games, like, okay, this champ we're already good at, or we know what we want to do in draft with it, then we start trying new things. But when we see an angle that maybe this game, let's say the Nidalee top is a good pick, we just pick it and we try it maybe one game. But again, we are not too obsessive with the drafts. Like, we just believe we are able to pull out the things when we want to, even in officials. So we mostly focus on the gameplay part, what we need to improve in game, and then in the draft it's more like sometimes it's a freestyle. Yeah.
That's cool. It does make our job as casters impossibly difficult. Because, you know, if you don't know what you're drafting, good luck to us. But in the context of draft, you guys are going to be going up against Fnatic, not this week, but the week after. You have the luxury of having a bit of an extra break. So what do you think about Fnatic right now?
I mean, I think Fnatic is a really strong team. How I see this, there is like a Fnatic G2 above the rest. I'm not comparing us to them because I will always think we are the best. So I think Fnatic is a really strong team. I think Razork is playing pretty well, Oscarinin, and Humanoid, like they play a lot through the top side. So I think will be a really interesting match. I think they are trying to be like in a way like G2, but I think they have a wall mentally like us.
I mean, mental is definitely going to be a big factor, right? Because, I mean, Noah's talked a lot about publicly, you know, he moved away from social media specifically to focus on his mental. I'm excited to see you versus Noah. I mean, obviously you talk about a lot in terms of your confidence, but how do you feel about that matchup against Humanoid? Because obviously mid-jungle is always a big deal when it comes to fighting Fnatic, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like their mid-jungle is pretty strong, so it's going to be fun. I mean, last time we played a best of 5, I think we won them, and it was pretty fun. It was pretty close series, so I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be similar. I think they are a really strong team, as Supa said. I think they are, with G2, probably the strongest besides us. So I'm really looking forward for it. I think it's going to be interesting, and yeah.
Is there like a bit of rivalry whenever you go up against some of the Spanish players and just like, I just want to smash these lads? Like, I just want to be like, we're the better Spanish guys? Because like, I imagine for Razork and Oyoya, there's definitely a bit of a rivalry there. But is it the same then against Oscar and as well?
I mean, I think Mirwin and Oscarinin is like from Superliga is already like a rivalry. Yeah. I think they want to beat each other so much. I know both. I play with both, and I know they want to smash the other one. So yeah, I think maybe for the Spanish can be. I don't know about El Joya, but for sure they are competitive both. But I think with Fnatic we always have like something special since winter. I think the best of 5, game 5 was another special moment. I think they want their revenge for sure. So I think will be real fun.
I can't wait for this conversation that's going to happen where Mirwin and Oscar are both going to be like, guys, I think red side is definitely the play. Like no reason specifically, but it would be nice if I didn't have to blind pick my Cassante into whatever crazy thing he's cooked up.
What do you mean? He's going to steal Super AD carry anyway.
I mean, I can imagine that if you're going up against Mirwin, the first thing you do is you go to his solo queue and then you try to find his other solo queue account and then you try and find his third solo queue account. And the plan is like, okay, what does he cook? Because I got to counter cook. But yeah, that's. Are there any certain things specifically that you guys? Because I want to ask for your strategy, but when going up against a team like Fnatic, is there something that you think that they prioritize or tailor, or something that you're kind of mindful of when playing against a team like Fnatic? Is there anything specific?
I'm not really sure right now. The only thing I have in mind is that they really like to play through mid, I think, as G2. I think they like a lot to skirmish. Also, support jungle, I think they play a lot through mid. So probably is a team that likes to fight a lot like us. So I think it's going to be a bloody game from what I can know.
100%.
That's the only thing I'm expecting for now, yeah.
Because my read on Fnatic was one of the evolutions I think they made was G2. Something they did a lot early was basically once they enter the mid game, they'll put caps on side and then they always put their resources towards caps, right? And I think you guys started to match that because there was this really cool, I forget which game it was, where like caps was in a side lane. You guys sent 3 up there to see if you could catch caps. And then like G2 was already hovering around him. And then you guys did the same thing where you were sitting and you were pushing top and then G2 tried to catch you, but then your team is there. Do you think this is something that we're seeing more of globally? Is this an EU-centric thing, or like how teams play around mid lane specifically, and then top lane has become kind of this weak side lane moment in the mid game?
I think it mostly starts, I think it's more common in Europe, I would say, but I think it comes mostly from the meta, I would say, because you play a lot of carries now in mid, like the AD carries like Lucian, Corki, Zeri, or all that kind of stuff, that if you get a lot of resources or people are around you, if you are good, you're gonna 1v9 the game. So people put a lot of resources there usually, and if the carry is fed, obviously it's easier to win a game, so I think it comes from that mostly.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, what's the prediction? Obviously you guys think you're going to win, but what's the score? Are we getting 5 games? Is it 3-0?
We never know.
That's what I'm asking.
I don't really mind, to be honest. I don't mind having more practice. I don't mind going into 5 games. Also, we didn't lose a single game 5, I think, this year. So that's pretty cool also. I don't really mind if it's 3-1, 3-0, 3-2. For me, the more games we play, the better, more practice. So I want the 3-2, yeah.
I will say 3-2 or 4-1, like G2.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Because of course, was it... did you guys play against BD? It was BDS in your round 1, right? And then I remember the conversation was, how did you lose a 2-1, 3-0 to BDS? Because you guys were winning like every single game, and then you still lost the series, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember. What was your prediction?
Thanks for rubbing it.
Yeah. No, I understand why mental is such a big focus point. Because I mean, the thing about it, to kind of backtrack on that topic, is I think you've demonstrated consistently that you have the potential to win games, right? You build in the framework, you have that core, you have everything that you clearly need. There's just something that stops you from going from, we've now got everything we need to end, and then we're not ending. And, the question then becomes, is it a gameplay thing where you literally don't know what to do with the lead, or is it a mental thing? And it's obvious from this conversation that it's become a mental thing. So if you then overcome that, in theory, the gameplay should just quickly follow.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. But in the battle of the minds, Dagda, who do you think will take the series?
So the thing was, I was like coming into this, I was like, it's been really cool because I really like your adaptation draft. Because one of the big criticisms I had of you guys was you would get these early leads, like game 2 versus BDS, where Oyoye gets 4 kills in the Talia. I'm like, it's good to go. And then I'm like, you've got like no real engage. It's really hard for you to try and like force fights and stuff, which is why I thought it was 6 senior drafts for this series, where it was like, hey, we've got the Vi, we're going for like Morganas, but we've got guaranteed engages and other ways. But now I've learned that your drafts are just higgledy-piggledy and make no sense. So I think it's going to come down to like, if you were able to played through these early leads, I think you guys are going to do great against Fnatic. Because game 1 and game 2 of their last series, Fnatic was a little bit shaky still. I think it was game 3 where they really popped off. But yeah, I can easily see it going to 5 games. But I think it's going to be an absolute banger, especially if you bring what you do against G2.
I made them give me a number. What's your number?
Well, we'll go 3-2 you guys because you're here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's analysis
Okay.
for you. But yeah, I think it will come down a lot to if we get to see some of the cool things like the Vex and stuff. Like I thought that was your creativity shined in the draft, but it also meant that you had the follow up that I thought you needed that just was missing in season playoffs.
Yeah, I will say that game 1 was probably you overcooked because I remember thinking back to myself that like actually. Because some people say that the draft was bad, but you did have push top and you had push mids. And I thought that was fine, but then you went for that dragon fight. That was the one I didn't like because I was like, you're fighting a Callista who's, I think she was already on Blade Spike. And then you guys just said, we can definitely contest this. Can you explain the logic? Or is that just a whoops?
I think we have a good draft. The draft didn't go like it should because I think Kalista got lead when they can't do anything in bot lane.
Yeah.
So I think the main problem is when we fight in mid and we die like 3 or 2.
I do remember that.
When we are skipping bot wave to fight. I think it was more about being patient, respecting, looking to fight together. So I think the fights, even if you think you lose, enemy will do always mistake. So I think it was more about we set up objective and be all in the same page more than is a bad call or a good call because at the end you never know if it's a good or bad call because enemy is human.
That is a really great point. And it ties me beautifully into Worlds because Mad Lions, since arriving, have never missed a World Championship. And the fans always make a meme about it. It's like run from it, hide from it, mad at Worlds, all the same. Along with being one of Europe's most consistent appearances, they don't have a great reputation at Worlds. They are the only European organization that has lost in play-ins, not once, but twice. And now we've got a brand new Mad Lions. Now, you guys, ironically, because you beat G2, have not locked a spot at Worlds. You now are the biggest G2 fans, in theory, because if they get top 3, you go to Worlds. But one more series win and you can just confirm it, right? Now, because your probability is high, let's look at the world spectrum. We've basically got 4 rookies on this roster, potentially going to Worlds. The good old European days of we'd form a team of rookies, they go to Worlds, they impress us, we get super excited. How excited can we be about this iteration of Mad Lions when it comes to the World Championship?
I mean, I think we can improve a lot. Me, for now, I'm just focused to make it first. But then if we're going to make it, I think I just want to learn as much as I can in Worlds because I think it's a huge opportunity for all of us. Since, as you mentioned, we are 4 rookies. I think we are really talented roster. So if we're going to play against better people and better teams in general that are way better coordinated than us and have way more knowledge than us, I think we're going to improve heavily. And we mentioned that this project is like long-term. So as long as we improve there and we're going to make a progress, I will be really, really happy about it. And of course, I'm going to be super excited because it has been my dream always to play there. So I would love to play there against the better people.
Is there a certain player that you're really looking forward to playing against or learning from, or a person that you like watch VODs of that you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get to play against this guy?
Obviously, Chovy. I would like to play him. Like, I think he's by far the best.
Yeah, well, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every mid that I've spoken to about Chovy has just said that he's like he's like a robot in lane. Like, he just doesn't miss anything. So good luck. It's I want to come back to the point you made because that topic on we're all human, right? I've really gotten into chess recently. And the only reason why I bring that up is because I think there's a lot of parallels between chess and League. One of the easiest examples of that is we use the word tempo, which is originally a chess terminology, which is kind of a term to kind of describe your turn, right? And so for the viewers at home that don't really understand, if Mad Lions push in bot and then they go take a Drake, it then means that if you then try to take a Baron, you've kind of already used your tempo to take the Drake, so then you kind of need to reset, and then it's the other turn's team who has tempo, right? But one of the things that the community at large loves to do is they love to talk about how, well, when the games look messy, then the quality of league is low. But the reality is that everyone is kind of human, right? And obviously the best teams in the world sometimes do look like robots because it feels like that they very rarely make those mistakes and they're just very calculated, which is why kind of Gen G looks so terrifying as a team right now. When we look at the global landscape, I'm sure you guys watch games from all over the world. How do you kind of rate the global level of league right now? And where do you guys find your current level of play sitting in that global ranking?
I think I will say like LCK is the top one to say like a tier list. Then LPL, obviously, I think they are really close. I think BLG, Top Esport is really good teams. Even if I think they Top Esport underperforming MSI, because I think they are really good. Then I will say after this top league should be us in an NA, but I think NA improved since the other year. I think, for example, I like how Team Liquid in this case like play. I think the gap between top 1 and top 2 NA is big. So I will say this the top 4, and then the rest of the league I don't watch that much.
That's fair.
I think they usually do interesting thing in international, but they don't go like to top 4 never. But I think the level is pretty high in LCK and LPL. So I think it's a big gap between top 2 and top 3.
Interesting. But how big is that gap between us and them? Because that's what people want to know.
I mean, I think the biggest gap is, imagine if gameplay there is a big gap, let's say, to imagine, we need to win it from other side, no? I believe to beat this team, you need to gap them mentally. So if you can imagine they're better than you individually, you need to make a gap mentally to fight face to face, no? But you need to keep improving, no? But when we are talking about the clown games and all that things, people think that it's random who wins, no? But usually the random games, like the clown party, always win the guy that is stronger mentally. And it's because this guy knows how to be calm, how to be more confident than the enemy when there is like things happening permanent. Who is the best player? I believe the best player is who always knows what to do and is better calm than the other, no? So I think how I see this DRX 2022 won Worlds, if I need to be honest, without being probably top 5 on the world in basing peak level. So I will really focus mentally to beat this team and improve as much as possible you can do individually, because for me it's like a gift that you can play into the best team, into the best players, when usually here you only can play into 10%, no? Let's say that the best player in the world.
No, that's really cool because I feel like your expectations are very grounded. You know, Fresskowy, you didn't say anything crazy. You kept very realistic expectations, and Supa, you have such a healthy mindset. I think this is a great way to see the World Championship. And of course, again, Mad Lions have not locked a spot at Worlds just yet. There are a few variables, but you're kind of in a fantastic position because if G2 do make the lower bracket run, they can kind of lock it for you if they do secure top 3. Alternatively, if you can, it's still in your own hands. You can just beat Fnatic, and there you go. You've secured top 2, and you'll be one of Europe's top 2 seeds, which would obviously, for such young players, would be a massive opportunity. So we'll see if you do qualify to Worlds. Now, Supa, as you know, you've made some comments. And not only did you make a comment, you then doubled down on the comment that you were in fact better than Deft. Now, what I'm about to talk about has nothing to do with that. Dragos isn't here, so it's my responsibility to get clickbait titles and to draw the viewers in, right? And so who better than to ask than the man who just gives wonderful quotes? Now, in an interview with APA, done by Mahir over at the LCS, APA was asked how big the gap was between Team Liquid and G2. Now, bear in mind, this was last week. And he gave the following quote, okay? "I'm not too worried about EU this year. I think top 2 or top 3 NA teams are better than just EU as a whole right now. So yeah, I'm not really worried about EU." Now, I know you're going to say, I don't really watch NA. But I think he does have some authority based on the last example of EU he got to watch was G2 versus Fnatic final. And TL also consistently beat Fnatic, who's now currently in our upper bracket, right? But Supa, is there anything you would like to say in response to that comment?
First, I watch Summer A, only Team Liquid, because I think they do interesting things, and I like it. They do a lot of swap, and when I want to watch Thix, I think this guy is the only one playing in the walls, so I respect that. But I think I truly believe that EU is better than NA. It's just because I think like NA is never like a threat for the Asian teams, and I feel like the only one that we did it, and even G2 were the only one that playing into T1 and top esports. So I think NA will, if they compete here, I think they don't win never, if you ask me, because I think we have better potential and better players, and I think we work better than them. And so I feel like Team Liquid, even if they compete here, they will be like top 4, top 3.
Damn. I mean, that was a very measured take. I was kind of hoping that you'd say, he ain't no Chovy or something, but that's fine. I'll take that.
Yeah, we'll see how they do when they stop stealing our players.
Yeah, that's the title. There's the title. No, I mean that's a very measured response. Thank you for that, Supa. Obviously, the counter argument they'll always have is that G2 lost to NRG last year at Worlds, and Team Liquid did in fact not beat. They didn't just beat Fnatic once, they beat them twice this year. So, I mean, a lot of words being thrown back and forth. I look forward to the NA versus EU rivalry internationally. Now, gentlemen, we have some Twitter questions that I'm going to get into. This first one is not a question. It's actually just a very nice message that I thought you both would love to hear. So from Koi Mirwin Ismo, at CrassDFD. This isn't a question, but a message for them. We want to let them know that we, as fans, are extremely proud of them, no matter what happens in the upcoming series. So keep enjoying while playing and try our best.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I'm actually surprised that there is so many people like supporting us still, like a lot after the 2 disaster splits that we had. So it feels nice that there is people believing in us still. So I'm really surprised, like many times, that there is people like really supporting our back still.
I mean, fun seems to be the name of the game for you guys. So I think that in terms of the fans' concerns, you will not stop having fun. That seems to be for sure. So this is a question that got asked a lot. So while this is from @Lucas Guillotte, I might have messed that up. But this question also came from Cadril himself. And he said, who has the deepest AD carry pool between the MDK players? Who is it?
What is a AD carry?
Let's talk about this. So like when we think about, if in League, you can, I mean, I don't know what it is in Spanish, but you can type marksman in the top, right? Or you can pick the little marksman tab and it gives you a list. Of that list, who thinks they could play the most champions at a pro level?
I mean, I don't know if it is a good answer, but one moment during the season, I checked the OPGGs for my top laner, and I played more melees than him in the last 25 days. so I think he lost more AD carry than me, no? I hope one day we bring meta of Heimerdinger. I can play Malphite, Heimerdinger in both sides. Probably we will win more.
I think back to, do you remember Bwipo? I mean, how can we remember Bwipo? That was a stupid question. There was a meta where he bench reckless and went bot to play things like Swain. So basically, we're just kind of waiting for those moments, right? Where you and Moo in one day would just be like, you're going to lock in like Darius and Zeri, and he's going to have the Zeri, and you're going to have the Darius.
I mean, I talked with Mirwin, and I hope one day I can go top lane, play AD carries, and he go bot, and play his shit in bot lane, For me, I will love it.
Hell yeah. Okay, that's cool.
I do love the idea of it's like, who's the better Zeri? All right, we're playing Zeri top. We need to figure out which one of you is now going to play this in the top lane.
Now, we did already kind of talk about this, but from @RankTalksBall, how are the draft talks and how does Mirwin convince them to play whatever? is that like a negotiation process, or does he? Because the impression I get is that there's not really a discussion. It's kind of like there's 10 seconds on the clock, and he goes, "I think XXX is good here."
I mean, yeah, usually it's like we don't even expect what is going to happen sometimes, so I can't really answer because we can't really prepare for every single scenario in draft since we have so many unique picks, and also depends which team you are playing because obviously some teams have more champion pool, some teams less. For example, into G2, the preparation also is different because we expect them to play different things. I think they have bigger champion pool than most of the teams also, so it's really hard to prepare a draft versus teams like, for example, us, because you don't expect what we are going to pull out. So you can't really do a meeting that you're going to go through every single scenario, what they are going to pick, because we can always surprise people. So it depends. Usually in the stage, we just consistently adapt of what enemy team is picking, what we are picking, and then we see whatever is best. We just trust the guy and we pick it.
Are there times when you're sitting there going, please, just for Necton? Just make it simple. Just player payrolls. Or are you just like, I'm down for all the madness?
Maybe in the beginning, sometimes I was like, okay, please, can we play something normal? But at this point, it's like, whatever. I just trust you. Like, pick whatever you want.
So the last question. This is a question specifically for Fresskowy from at Andres Dunk. So everyone is now talking about Mirwin and his crazy champion pool, and this is something we talked about earlier, but you played Ezreal, Vex, Galio, Zeri, and Ari. What is the weirdest pick you loved playing in the past? Can we expect more pocket picks coming from you?
I mean, I have a lot of picks in my pocket still. We are similar with Mirwin. I think we have the same mindset, kinda. Like, we don't need so many games to get the idea of the champion, how to play it. I have a lot of picks that I like to play. I can say all of them for obvious reasons, but I used to be like, in the past I used to play things like Riven, Yasuo, Fizz, so maybe I can pull out, I don't know, something weird. I don't even know, to be honest. I can't answer you. Maybe I see an angle of something and I'm gonna be like, okay, let's pick it. So yeah, I have like a lot of picks like Miri, more or less.
That's cool. Whether we get them though, you don't know.
Yeah.
And no one knows. So that's always exciting. But thank you so much, Twitter, for sending out a bunch of questions. Now, of course, it's not just about you guys. We do, of course, have the lower bracket that we need to talk through, which is we've got SK versus BDS. And we've also got G2 versus Giant X, which is the matchups going into this weekend. It will be BDS versus SK on Saturday, and then G2 versus Giant X on Sunday. Let's start with BDS versus SK. I'm sure you guys have had the opportunity to scrim the teams. You guys can see the bracket behind you as well, if that's helpful at all. But what are your initial thoughts on the series BDS versus SK?
I mean, I think SK looks like the split make them worse. I feel like they are playing worse with the time happening. Probably something is happening. So, and BDS is kind of always the same level, and I respect that. So I think if I think it will be a 3-1, maybe Irrelevant gets like one game because he will do a great performance. So I expect like a 3-1, really solid from BDS, and I think they should beat them pretty easy to say.
Oh, interesting. Fresskowy, do you agree?
I'm not really sure how the game is gonna go because I think both teams kinda went down like through the season. I feel like we could expect way more from both of them. I'm not really sure. I think for me it's gonna be a close series. I think. I'm cheering for Isma, of course, because I used to play with him. But I'm scared that maybe they're going to lose because I think BDS as a team, I would say, is a bit more composed, a bit more better. I think they play better with each other. So I would say it would be 3-2. Can go either ways, but I think BDS is going to win 3-2, yeah.
Dagda?
I've kind of just been less convinced by BDS in playoffs and even the end of summer playoffs. So I'm kind of with you, Fresskowy, where I'm not really sure in the squad. And we haven't seen SK. So if SK come in and we have kind of the early game mistakes we've seen from BDS, I could definitely see SK individually outperforming them and being able to win the game through that way. But if it comes down to, hey, we're just going to like go even and then we set up for dragons and it comes down to objective setup, I give it to BDS. But I think SK will come in all guns blazing. So this is actually a series where I could see SK taking it, but it's also a series I could see going to 5 games and going the other way. So at the moment, I'm kind of leading 3-2 SK, just because I'm not as convinced as BDS as usual. But yeah.
And also, you just have no data to kind of see
Exactly
on
on SK. Yeah.
That's fair. But I mean, Ice and Rahel, 2 AD carries that I think. Well, I think Ice has just been very good throughout the year, personally, and I think Rahel kind of made a really big impression in the summer split. But how do you rate them as AD carries? Because I think they'll be really important in this series.
I mean, I think Ice should be better. I think in general, all Koreans has a similar playstyle. They play a lot through the enemy mistakes. So when they play between each other, if you look at the games that happen, they usually don't get a lot of advantage through the bot lanes. So I believe BDS bot lane is better because I think Lavrov is playing well this year in general. So I will say they should have an advantage in BDS bot lane. And the meta, I think, adapts pretty well from BDS.
Fair. Okay, so some pretty mixed takes on the series, which is good. I like that. Keeps the league competitive. G2 versus Giant X. I mean, you guys probably have better experience on G2 than most other teams. My instinct is that G2 are the heavy favorites. Would you agree, or is Giant X currently in Madrid?
I mean, I would say it will be 3-0 for G2, I think. I can see a war that Giants X can take a game of them because also the meta, I think Jackies likes to play the AD carries also in mid. So I think the meta might suit them a bit. But anyway, I think G2 is just the better team. So I think it's going to be 3-0 for me.
But let's expand on that a little bit more. Just because Caps did not play a single AD carry in the series. And so what did you think of their meta reads? Like, were there picks that you thought were weird? Like, was the Kennen priority something that stood out as strange, or does it make sense? The fact that they were playing things like Orianna Nocturne, what did you guys think of their meta read?
I was a bit surprised because they pull out like the old combos in a way, as you mentioned, like the Nocturne Ori, or we're expecting like the Vi Ari from them, or more of the AD mid jungle again. So I was more surprised. I think we can see more AP mids again because some of the runes got nerfed recently, but I still do believe that AD mids are still really good. So I think it's up to a team really, because we also played both in our series. But yeah, I mean, I was a bit surprised because I feel like the meta maybe is more flexible now after the nerfs. But yeah, I think it depends on the team still.
Super, what are your thoughts on G2's meta read?
I think they didn't, from outside, they didn't like this last patch, or they didn't find themselves. I think they were they have their own meta read, and I think maybe they got confused or something because what happened. The other way, I think, is they know I'm really bad into Orianna Nocturne, so they just put
Yeah, you're really bad into Orianna Nocturne, eh?
But they didn't know they need to focus me, and they went for Fresskowy. So maybe they did it.
Oh yeah, okay. And what do you think, Dagda?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be G2 3-0. I would be more convinced in Giant X if I could see them like not get caught in mid game, but it feels like almost every time it's like someone will get caught in the mid game and they'll throw away these leads. And I think G2, although like you guys expose them a little bit, I still think they are very good in a mid game in general. And if you end up giving them those mistakes, they'll just take the game anyway, even if you can get these early leads. So I feel like it's very much an uphill battle for Giant X in that series.
Fair. Okay. Well, gentlemen, we have talked about quite a lot in today's episode, but I am not going to really keep you any longer. So I really want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all your insight. Is there anything you'd like to say with the last few moments? Anything to the fans or the organization or even your other teammates?
I mean, I would like to thank all of our fans and all the people cheering for us because, as I mentioned before, for me it's surprising that people still believe in us so much because for me the last two splits were a disaster. So I'm really, really grateful that there is people cheering for us, and I don't know. I just want to make it to Worlds. I want to make our fans happy finally for once because I think we're able of winning LEC. So I just want to win LEC, go to Worlds, and yeah.
Super.
I'm really happy to get invited here again after getting flamed 100 times in Twitter. So thanks everyone for believing us. I think there is a lot of fans going for us. So I'm really happy. I'm really close maybe to get a Viper t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Thanks everyone for cheer for us even in bad and good moments. And for hating me because that's make people know more about me.
Yeah, that was my strategy when I started too. Yeah, no, I get
Any
it.
PR is good PR, yeah.
Yeah, now what you guys don't know about is the Euphoria curse, which is why we're going to end the podcast there. So thank you very much for watching. If you have made it this far, say hashtag Go Mad Lions, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.